And I thought I was her. Now, don't get me wrong, in kindergarten I was taught to raise my hand if I wanted to speak. But I was busy sucking my fingers at the time, so I didn't really bother to take my fingers out of my mouth and actually raise my hand. So that never really caught on with me. And tried my nights to be respectful and do as I was told. I never could quite grasp the concept of that widely accepted notion of, I want to speak, so I will raise my hand. I couldn't get it. And now, well, I talk too much. Lucky for me, I have always had teachers who have given me the space to speak my mind. So yes, maybe I talk too much, but I would rather talk too much than say too little or nothing at all. Without giving me the space to speak my mind, I never would have been able to find the answers to the questions I always seem to have. What could I be doing for others? Who needs my help? Why doesn't this make any sense? And why is no one doing anything about it? How much longer? How many more? Why this, why that, why so, and why not? But I have discovered that there are a few benefits to talking too much. For starters, I get to speak to all of you. But I've also discovered that using my voice is an awesome way to make a difference. So my senior year of high school, our school district built a new high school. And normally that would have been fine except for one thing. A friend of mine called me one night and asked if I was thinking of rezoning lines. Whenever they build high schools, they have to draw the lines again to decide where students are going to go to high school. So the students who live in this region can go to high school A, the students who live in that region can go to high school B, and so on and so forth. And so every time they go to a school, they draw the lines. My friend asked me if I had seen the lines, and I hadn't. So I immediately pulled them up. And I knew the problem instantly. The lines were terrible. Poorly drawn lines can cause overcrowding in classrooms and unequal allocation of resources, which creates instability. And that's never good. We knew we had a problem, and we needed to solve it. Quickly. While we may not have known it at the time, our plan had 3 simple steps. First, we needed to talk people into hearing. Sometimes we as humans take things at face value. If we had done that with the maps, the results would have been bad at best. We needed people to understand that our cause was important and relevant to them. So we talked to them. But before you can really connect with someone, you have to understand what it is that they care about. For some people, just seeing the maps was enough to make them care. Other people cared about the financial implications of poorly drawn maps, while still some other people cared just about the stories and the people who would be affected by the poorly drawn lines. Surely we weren't the only people who saw the problem, but what was being done to solve it? If the answer to that question is ever nothing, we all have an opportunity and a responsibility to stand up and act. Talking people into hearing turned into our second step. We needed to get as many people involved in the conversation as possible. So in order to do that, we started standing up in our classes and telling our students, our fellow classmates, our teachers, talking to guidance counselors, what are the problems? We wrote articles for our school in the local paper. We even held a forum so that people could voice their opinions. Then we called the local news media. We wanted them to know so that our story would reach a larger audience. But perhaps the most important thing that we did was use social media. Our generation gets a bad rap for being the generation of instant gratification. We want things now. But we also have the reputation for being so-called hashtag activists. We take to Twitter and Instagram to voice our discontent with things. And while some people don't necessarily see the benefits of social media in the world of activism, consider this. When we wanted to get our message out to a large audience, we took to social media. In a separate incident this past fall, with all of the chaos and the sadness and the confusion happening in Ferguson, what many reporters found was that they were unable to get their message out on the level that they wanted. And what happened was that private citizens became reporters via Twitter. In response to that very same incident, students here on USC's campus, the same night that they announced that they would not invite Barry Wilson, With less than 45 minutes warning and planning time, we were able to plan and organize a vigil that was attended by more than 100 people in less than an hour. And in the hours that followed, not days or weeks, in the less than 24 hours that followed, we would also plan 2 blackouts, a march, a forum, and a planning session to figure out where to go next with what our ideas were. And all with the help of social media. So I don't think that social media should replace boots on the ground activism, but I certainly think that social media does a great job of telling boots on the ground where to march. And that was our third step. We needed to get people involved. We needed to get them in the conversation. But most importantly, we had to talk people into taking action. We, the students, knew that the only people with the power to change the maps was the school board. So we showed up to the school board meeting. Now, for those of you who have never been to a school board meeting, let me save you the snooze fest. Typically what happens is they recognize a middle school band or an elementary school choir, and that's key. And then they go on to talk about policies that affect, 3 people, and discipline that affects no one, and no one goes to school board meetings. Except for this night. On this particular night, there were hundreds of people who showed up to voice their concerns. And all because we had done that boots on the ground work of talking to people and making sure that they understood how this affected them. As we started to have the school board meeting, the school board was listening to parents and teachers and members of the community. But they refused to let any of the students speak. And it was at this moment that we realized sometimes it's important to have an adult on your side. For us, what happens is that an adult interceded and said to the school board, hey, all these students showed up, you could at least hear from some of them. My mother, who is employed by the district, would tell me later that when I got up to speak, she was concerned that she would not have a job the next morning. Not to worry, she is still employed by the district. But the point here is that sometimes you have to be willing to step up and use your voice. If we hadn't, who knows what would happen with the zoning maps. As an aftermath of what happened that night, in the next few weeks, the school board would release a new set of maps, and these zones made a lot more sense, and they would pass without much fanfare. No one would